Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again tonight, and today we are going to make a cake. I love cakes, and this one is particularly delicious because instead of using milk or water as our moisture in our cake this week, we're going to use applesauce. It's going to give it a great flavor, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So this is an apple pecan layer cake. Okay, so it's an apple pecan cake. We're going to do 2 layers. So you can do it as a sheet cake. It's not that different. So before we do anything else, we need our pans. We're going to get 2 8 or 9-inch cake pans. Round or square is up to you. I'm using round just because the container I'm using to put the cakes in is round. If you have a square container, use a square pan. So we're just going to get this ready. Okay, we're just going to get this ready with a little bit of cooking spray. I'm just using a canola oil cooking spray, but you want some cooking spray just to make sure your cakes don't stick. You can also use a cake goop, or you can use butter and flour. Whatever you want to use, you can. There we go. All right. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need is 2.5 cups of just regular flour. There we go. 2.5 cups, no big deal. To that, we are going to add 2 cups of sugar, white sugar. Okay. Move my bowls over there. That's easier over there. We want 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. That's just regular table salt. You can use a kosher or sea salt or Himalayan if you like. And we have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay? Now we're just going to drop our beater down into our mixer. I'm using the Bosch Compact Kitchen Machine, the 400-watt model. That a lot of people ask me. I will put a link to this machine. So there's no moisture in here yet. We're just going to turn this on for a second. Low speed, because you don't want your flour and sugar to come popping out. Just kind of do that for 10 to 20 seconds just so it starts getting mixed up. Good enough. So I just realized I forgot my applesauce, so we'll be right back. Okay, I've located my applesauce. I'm just using these little cups. Now, if you have the same size cups, they're about 1/2 cup each, so you'll need 3 of them because you need 1.5 cups of applesauce. You can also buy just a larger container and measure it out. But this is roughly how much you'll need. So you want 1.5 cups of applesauce, which is 3 of these little guys, which is what I like to buy because I make dog snacks for my dogs. And these little cups come in handy because usually you just need like 1 cup. 1 little scoop. So there we go. That is 1.5 cups of applesauce. Now we're going to turn this on low and just let it kind of go as I add my rest of my ingredients. We're going to add 2 eggs. Okay. We're also going to add 3/4 of a cup of oil. Any neutral oil will do. I am using a sunflower oil, but you can use a canola or a vegetable. It doesn't matter. There we go. So we're going to turn this up a little bit faster. Okay, so like always, we want to go in and just scrape the sides of our bowl, just because, like always happens when you have a cake, they ride up on the sides and then you don't get all your ingredients mixed. So we're going to drop it back down another couple whirs. right, now we're going to add our final ingredient, which is optional. You do not have to do this, but I'm going to add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. Okay, I really like pecans. They go really well in this. You don't have to do that. If you don't like pecans, you can just skip them and just proceed with your apple cake. All right, but we're going to do that low speed to mix those in. We don't want to chop them up. There we go. See, it mixes it in pretty well. And stop. Okay. Use your silicone or rubber spatula to wipe all that off. I'm going to take this beater out because we don't need it. Take this out and get rid of the mixer. Don't need that. So now what we need are our 2 pans. Remember, they are prepared with cooking spray. And you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? Now we're going to pour half of this into one pan and half into the other. So I like to underfill the first one, or what I think is underfilling, and then go on to the second one. And then if I need more, I just don't fill this one so much. But looks like I'm going to use all of it in this one because that seems to be, looks like I did it pretty well on the first try. There we go. So remember, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't go higher than that. Sometimes it's tempting to bake your cakes a little hotter, but don't. Okay, don't do it. So now you have these in your pans. Kind of give them a shake to level them out. And then you also want to give them some taps to bring the air bubbles in the cake to the surface. So you're going to want to tap them for a couple of minutes. I'll do that off camera because it's really annoying to watch. Like, this is really irritating for 2 minutes. But you want to tap them for about 2 minutes. Then we're going to bake them at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. I go to the 35-minute edge to make sure these are not too moist. You want to make sure they're fully cooked. And you can leave them up to 40 minutes, but try 35. And if you don't think they're done, go to 40 minutes. We'll come back when they have been cooked, and then I'll show you what we're doing next. All right, so our apple pecan layer cakes, or our apple pecan cakes, have baked for 35 minutes, and then I have cooled them for 10 minutes on this wire rack in the pan. You don't want to remove them from the pan right away because they will fall apart. But after about 10 minutes or so, it should be safe. So how do you know they're cooked? You could insert a toothpick into the center, and if it comes out clean, they're cooked. But I don't typically do that. I look around the edges. The edges should be firm and set, and the edges should have pulled away from the edge of the cake. If they have, you know you're cooked. So flip them out. And let them cool completely on your wire rack before you try to put any kind of icing on them. So yes, the intent would be to either stack these into a layer cake, or you could frost them individually. Okay, or you could have baked a sheet cake and maybe you'll just frost the top. So what kind of frosting goes good with this cake? Well, pretty much anything. You could use a brown butter icing, you could use a buttercream, you could use a, I don't know, what do you like? This is a very, very versatile cake. You can use a lot of different frostings. I actually recommend apple brown butter frosting, and I'll put a link to apple brown butter frosting in the video description because it's really good with these because it's made with apple juice instead of milk, so it's quite delicious. But how you frost and whether you even frost them is entirely up to you. So that's about it for us here tonight at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.